Welcome back to the Piney Woods Homestead, y'all. Today we're talking hog scalding. More specifically, we're gonna make a hog scalder. And y'all, it's really easy. You'll see what I'm talking about as we get into it. Guys, thanks for stopping in at the Piney Woods. Hit the like for us, subscribe to the channel if you hadn't, and if you have, as always, y'all, we appreciate you. Let's get to it. Alright, y'all, what we're looking to do here is just cut the top of this old fuel drum out. And y'all, it took me about an hour and a half to get from actually picking this thing up to getting it up here, because there was a lot more old fuel oil in this thing than I realized. It was about 30 gallons. And so I had to grab every container that we have around here, because we tend to be pack rats and we hang on to stuff because we might need it, and today's one of those times that I needed it. So I had a bunch of old 5-gallon cans, old oil containers, empty stuff. And so I was able to get all of it out of there. There might be a little bit left, but we'll deal with that once we cut a lid out of the top of it. But some things you're gonna need: some hearing protection if you mind loud sounds, some eye protection, decent reciprocating saw with a metal blade, and a decent pair of work gloves. Decent. There may be a hat. But what we're going to do is we're just going to cut it out. We're not going to cut too far down here, and you'll notice got right here I got to put a cap on this. I'll pick up a cap at the hardware store and seal that off, and I think there's a pinhole or two in it. We'll take some JB Weld, not today, but we'll take some JB Weld and kind of stuff them in there and let it harden, and that'll be all we need to make this thing watertight enough to scald a hog. So let's get to cutting this thing out. And y'all, you don't have to worry about it blowing up. Fuel oil is not going to ignite, to my knowledge, with a reciprocating saw. At least it never has in the past. So we'll see. Blade number 2. Don't get it in a bind. Now I'll just repeat the process all the way around the top. It doesn't take long, y'all, when you have this thing opened up. and then I'm going to show you what you're going to need to do to get this thing ready to actually put water in to scald a hog. Blade number 3. All right, so that wasn't too hard. It just takes a little bit of time. Make sure you don't burn yourself, because those blades are hot when you change them out. Make sure that if you got holes in your thumbs of your gloves like I did, that you're extra careful. But there's still just a little bit of fuel oil left in here, and it's watered down stuff, but I'm gonna get it out and put it into some containers, because we're not just gonna spill that out on the ground. That's a no-no, not good. But y'all, take a look at what I've cut out here. Don't throw this away. This is a fine cooking top. Somebody that's very creative could probably take something like this, clean it up really good, season it, and build them a decent cooktop out of that. You don't always have to go buy one of those, you know, cooktops. Put you a couple of gas burners under that thing and throw some hot dogs on it. So don't be wasteful. You can use that. It's already got attachment points where you can put some legs on it and everything like that. But pretty cool way to use old stuff. But guys, what I will actually end up doing here once I have gotten the fuel oil out, and I'm not going to keep the camera rolling for all that because it's time consuming, because I'm trying not to spill anything. But you'll actually set this up, or I will, out in the middle of that grassy area. It's nice and wet. And I actually build me a little fire inside of it with coals and everything, and I'll get me a decent fire going in it, and it'll burn out any of that residual fuel oil that's kind of caked on to the sides of it, things like that. It'll clean it up, y'all. And then after I have burned it out, I'll actually put probably some degreaser in there, and I'll scrub it by hand really well, rinse it several times, and that's going to clean this thing up. And I've got a couple of pinholes, I can actually see them now that I've got this thing open, that I've got to fix. But it doesn't look too bad. And I'll get me a cap for this little orifice right here. It needs to be plugged. But y'all, this thing will hold, I guess it's probably a 250-gallon tank. We won't need that much water. We'll fill it up probably halfway. And I'm going to show you something neat that I'm going to do versus putting it up on blocks and building a fire underneath it. I'm actually going to take that excavator and I'm going to trench me out an area as big as the cooker, or let's say the cooker, the scalding pot, the tank. And then I'll dig a ditch right in the center with an open end on it. And I'm actually going to build me a fire under this thing in the ground, where the top of this tank is actually almost flush with the ground. And the reason for that is so that it's easy to get that pig in and out as you're working on it to clean it. And that way you don't have to have a platform. You've seen some people, if you've looked at any videos, they'll have a platform on this thing with pallets or whatever they can throw the hog up on, scrape, put it back in the water, what have you. We'll actually either use some chains or some decent nylon rope, cordage, something like that, to roll that hog around in there and make sure that our hair's starting to pull. Before we ever pull him out, we'll probably pull him out onto a tarp or something like that, something that's nice and clean, so we can get the hair off, because it'll take myself, Lisa, and anybody else we can wrangle up to help us scald this hog, y'all. But it's gonna be good times, and you can reuse this thing from now on. And when I'm done with it, I'll pull it out, fill the hole back in where I've built the fire, and then when I'm ready for it next year, dig the same hole out again. It's that easy, y'all. I say it's that easy. It's not easy, but it is worth living this way, y'all. Guys, we appreciate you stopping in at Piney Woods Homestead. Hit that like and subscribe if you hadn't. If you have, y'all, we appreciate you. Country living. It ain't the easy way, but man, it sure is fun. Y'all have a good day.